Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's good? What's good?
Hey, look. How much money you got left on Christmas shopping?
Oh, hey, Christmas shopping easy for me, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, look. You would think. Look, I told Channing, look, all the kids got W-2 forms now. Why we doing all this shopping?
Oh, look, man. If you ain't in school, if you ain't in school, you don't get no gift. Let me
No,
rephrase that. If you ain't in school and you ain't my child, you don't get no gift.
look. Well, we need to get that memo to my wife because she believes that every child with W-2 forms get gifts too. So,
uh,
all right, let's let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's
all
go ahead and
right.
get into it.
Alrighty.
All right, how's it going? So, before we get started, as normal, we gotta give the shout outs.
Yep.
So, a lot has transpired since the last time we've been on. So let me go in and knock them out the way. First, gotta give a shout out to East Duplin High School.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they won their first state championship in football. My nephew Dante Hall was a major part of that team. Dante, as a matter of fact, he was named to the All State team.
Okay.
So he made All State as a defensive back. So congratulations. Battle Holly has, I think he's been the coach there for like 5 years, and he's gotten the two state championships. So Battle has done a real good job of building that team up over the last 5 years to get them the two state championships, and he finally won one. So kudos to them. But I had to get them out the way first because goodness well, we can't mention nothing when I mention New Bern High School.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now I know I live in Duplin County, and people live in Duplin County. Don't take this the wrong way, but we play big boy ball in New Bern, right?
Yeah, it's a
It's
bit
just
different between 4A and what's them, 2A?
two
Yeah.
A. I mean, I ain't trying to,
No, no, ain't no shade. No shade.
we play. It's just a fact. We play big boy ball
Yeah.
there, and New Bern won the state championship. Shout out to our cousin on that team,
Hmm.
Jaden Wallace, Damien's son. Rest in peace, Damien. I know he'd be proud of his son if he was here today. Congratulations to Aaron Herring on that team. He signed with Hampton University recently.
The running
KJ
back?
Sampson, the running back, yeah, signed with Hampton.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought he was going to ECU. Okay.
yeah. The HBCU got him right.
Yeah.
So shout out to, of course, KJ Sampson. Um, uh, he was named the state defensive player of the year, not just all state.
Yeah.
Named the best defensive player in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And he signed with Florida State. So congratulations to New Bern High
Yeah.
and those guys. Got to get the academics out of the way. Shout out to Langston Hall, one of my good friends. Langston is a student at the Southeast Raleigh Magnet School. He's a part of the engineering program. He plays football. He made the all conference academic team, all conference academics.
Okay.
So he's a great student athlete. Um, Last and certainly not least is my grandson Jaden. Uh, he participated in the literacy challenge, and in 6 weeks he read 12,000 words. So he was recognized at his school for the literacy challenge.
What grade is
So
Jaden in
anybody,
now?
Jade's in the fourth grade now.
Fourth grade.
Jade's in the
Okay.
fourth grade. Yeah. So anybody that got shout outs, want me to bring up your child, they're doing great things, please let us know so we can definitely recognize them.
Hmm.
All right, now to business.
Yeah. What we got
This
today?
today, yeah, man. Look, we normally do politics, current events, and those type of things. But with the early signing period and with athletics and everything that parents put into it, I see a lot of parents have their children playing sports, little league, and they have all these great intentions about the process, what they need to do. Is my child D1 material, or they getting the scholarship, or they going pro? You hear these things at all these events, and I thought about a good friend of mine, D. Freeman, who has a son who he's going through the process as a parent. He has two children that have gone to D1. I wanted to get a parent's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he's on right now. Bring him on, and like I said, D. Let me tell you about D before. I first saw D at Shaw University in 1990. You know why I saw him? I respect this guy a whole lot. He was the dude that walked around with the briefcase the first few years. He had the briefcase and the tie, so he was serious back then. So this is a guy I respected this guy from afar for many years. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I can give a shout out to him. But let's bring D on. D Freeman. How's it going, man?
Thanks, James. Thank you guys so much for having me. You're the second person that has mentioned that briefcase and shirt and tie business. I will tell you the secret. It was to get girls. There was nothing in that briefcase.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that.
The secret is out. I'm happily married 26 years now, and so I can let the secret out. There was nothing in that briefcase ever. Well, maybe some lunch or maybe a bag of chips or something, but there was nothing of significance. It was only so the girls would say, "Hey, who's this guy with the briefcase?"
Well, look, I was seeing it too, man. So you didn't.
Hey, it must have worked.
It must have worked. It must have worked. Good deal. Well, man, listen, D, man. First of all, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. And like I said before, I was thinking about this. I see parents put so much time and effort and energy
Hello?
into athletics for their children. They spend a lot of money and a lot of time. And a lot of times I just see that the investment doesn't pay off sometimes, a lot of time. So I just wanted to call and get some insight on what parents go through and what the process is from your perspective. And you can um, first let us know what your children and what they're doing, so they give a frame of reference for us, if you don't mind.
I am so sorry. You got disconnected. Are we back, guys?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're
back.
back.
Yeah, can you hear me?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good now. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. No problem. No, I was just saying, like I brought you on because I've seen over the years the process you went to. You have two children, one that has gone D1, one has been recruited D1. So I wanted to give it just a little introduction about your children and your perspective and what you've gone through so far. We can go from there if you don't mind.
Oh, that's fine. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
As I told you, James, when we first talked about this, I knew that one day someone would ask my wife and I, ask us how we did it. And I honestly, it's one of the biggest things we did, and I'll tell any parent is this, is that we completely and totally committed to their success. And with that
Okay.
complete and total commitment was sacrifice. Whatever it was, we were fortunate that they were, athletes, but they started out with everything. My daughter was a cheerleader. She played basketball. My son ran track and did karate. So those two things are what they gravitated to from an extracurricular perspective. But academically, we had to commit just as much resources, many resources to them.
Okay. So let me remember that last part. You said that you committed just as much to academics as athletics.
Oh, absolutely. So when my daughter was going through the recruitment process, now mind you, when she was going through the recruitment process, she was already an honor student. So she was an honor student, National Honor Society, all of that. She just happened to be one of the top 400-meter runners in the country and also in our area. But she wasn't a good test taker. So we actually had to get her ACT and SAT tutors. So that was one of those sacrifices, making sure she's going to 2-a-day practices because she practiced in the morning, and then she practiced in the evening, and then around that schedule, we had to schedule ACT tutor for her to get ready for the SAT, ACT. And so it was just as much dedication to that part of it as we were to the strength and conditioning and all the other stuff.
Well, thanks, and that is very important. I want to let parents please understand that what Mr. Freeman, what G has said is that while getting his daughter to the tour days and to her track practices, he spent just as much time getting her to test prep, getting her to the academic side of things as well. So
Yes.
basically, what the parents and what you're saying is that it's possible to do both. You can be heavy on the student and heavy on the athletic part of your child.
Yes, you can. But now I will be, as we talked about, totally transparent. Boys and
Yes.
girls are different. There's a different level of commitment for boys than it is for girls. My
Okay.
daughter, academically, she was just as serious about her academics as she was about her athletics. My son, not so much. He's doing well, I would say, but not well enough that based on our standards. But
Mm.
you, but he has to understand, and what we have them understand is that you cannot get to the next level without the academics. Only good thing now, and I'll say good because I think you guys probably could have a different discussion about the SAT and ACT and its relevance. But
Yes.
now, because of COVID, class of 22, 23, 24 don't have to take, they waived it, exactly. They don't need SAT,
Yeah.
ACT right now. But when my daughter was going through the process, she had to dedicate a considerable amount of resources to her academics.
Okay. So let me ask a question. I know I did a little bit of research on your son. Look, I feel like I've been following your son since for years, thanks to you, right? Thanks for putting it out there for us. So he's one of the top players in the class of 2024. Several offers. Now let me ask you a question. Now, what's the difference? Now, a lot of people say 3-star, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. What's the star rating system, and how is that relevant? If you don't mind me asking.
Okay, so there are hundreds of rating and ranking sites out there. Let me preface that. No parent should be concerned about their child being ranked before the 9th grade.
Okay.
Because no college coach cares if you were the number one kid in the 7th grade. So let's start there. And I've talked to several Hall of Fame coaches, and none of them have said, "Hey, your son was ranked number whatever in the 6th grade." So don't get caught up in those rankings until 9th grade. Now, there are 3 major ranking sites. There's Rivals, there's 247, and then there's ESPN. My son is top 30 in each one of those. One in ESPN, he's 23 or something like that nationally, and the others, and so forth, so on. So he's top 30 across the board. And those are all very subjective rankings. Some rankings, he's a 5-star, some he's a 4-star. And it's just basically categorizing the kids based on potential and ability. So a 5-star, if you're a 5-star recruit, the conventional wisdom is you are a pro, right? That's for football, basketball, or any of the other major sports. They say you have pro potential. And then it starts to go down from there. I can tell you that Power 5 schools usually don't recruit kids that aren't 3-star or below. Now, there are some exceptions. And when I say Power 5, I'm talking high major, because there's high major, mid major, low major, D2, et cetera, et cetera. The high majors usually don't aggressively recruit 3-star or lower. But they will recruit a 3-star athlete if there's just overwhelming potential, because that stuff is subjective. A 3-star athlete might really be a pro potential, but some guy behind a computer doesn't see it. But those rankings put you on the map. So.
Okay. Well, let me ask. I know a lot of people are the early signing period happened today. A lot of people are signing right now. If if you're a senior or junior or whatever at this time point, and you haven't been recruited or haven't been offered a letter, what are your chances of being offered one at this point here?
If you are a junior, you still have time. Things are slim because the landscape has changed now because of the transfer portal. Bigger schools don't have as many scholarships as they used to. And some schools, especially the high major schools, they're in win now mode, and so they're not signing as many high school kids as they used to. If you are a senior at this point, things are pretty slim now. Not impossible. We're talking about the high major. There may be some low major, maybe some D2s, D3, any guy that you might be able to find a home. But right now, things are pretty shaky as a senior.
Yeah, because I think I mentioned a kid. There's a kid here a few years back. His name was Javante Williams.
Watch out. Vehicle on
This
shoulder ahead.
he wasn't recruited or offered through his whole senior year. He got to the state championship game, balled out, got offered a scholarship by UNC. Chapel Hill, played there for 2 or 3 years and went pro. Is that the norm?
Yeah, now granted, no, that is not the norm. But that does happen. There are some kids that
Yeah,
don't get recruited at all that wind up at smaller schools and go all the way. Dame Lillard is an example of that. John Morant is another example. There's lots of
yeah,
examples of kids who don't go the, what I'll say, normal route. But my question to a parent who's banking on that is, why would you want to gamble on those anomalies when, if you prepare early, you probably fare better and have more options, because it's really about options.
Mm-hmm.
yes,
You don't want to be a kid that has to go to a school that you really didn't visit, you really don't like, because at the end of the day, you still have to go to class. I tell parents all the time, when you pick a school, always ask your child when they go on visits and see the school, ask yourself, if I was not playing a sport, could I still go to this school? Would I still be happy here?
wow, yeah. Now, sorry, one of the viewers just asked a question. D. He asked was, are there any particular camps to attend to achieve star rankings?
Okay, there are some. So the funny thing about that is, once you get to the ninth grade, there's only a few camps that actually allow ninth graders to be ranked. I mean, that are available for ninth grade. Don't get caught up in those rankings when you're in the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh grade, because nobody cares. And a lot of those camps are money grabs. They will. I won't give any names, but there are camps that have their own ranking sites for kids in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade. You go to the camp, you play, and they rank you based on you attending the camp. Now the camp isn't free. That camp, that ranking doesn't benefit you in any way in the sixth grade. There's nothing. Nobody cares. I can give you a list of kids who are ranked in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade who aren't even playing that sport anymore. So
Mm.
I would tell that parent, don't get caught up in the ranking stuff until ninth grade. Now, if they're a ninth grader, then I would say made hoops is a good one. Um, well, let me just be honest. Anything at ninth grade having to do with any of the sneaker companies is always a good place to start. It doesn't
Okay.
guarantee anything, but the level of coverage from the Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and now New Balance circuit, if you're looking for exposure at the ninth grade level, that can help you. Pangos is another good one, but all this is in the ninth grade. Anything beyond that, go ahead.
But there is a difference between trying to go to a camp and being good enough that you're invited.
Oh,
Yes.
that's another thing. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
please explain that. Thanks, Ann. That's a good point, man.
And that's a very good point. So getting invited to the bigger camps means a lot more than, because again, it's one of those situations where everybody's going, if you pay, the people who are paying to go to those camps, the free kids. The top kids don't pay to go to camps.
Oh, please say
So how
that
do you
again.
fund
D, please say that again. Please say that again.
the top kids do not pay to go to camps in most cases. What happens is they open a camp up to 200 or 300 kids, so that those 200 or 300 other kids will subsidize the top kids.
Whew. Wow.
Speed camera reported ahead.
So let me tell you this: if you want to, and this is the easiest way to do it. If you want to know if your kid has what it takes, now I'm not sure if they can do it in football. Have them play. That's you can tell if your kid is specialized, because sixth grade playing eighth grade basketball, eighth grade baseball, and he's
Yeah.
I think he's breaking up a little bit.
But if
Yeah,
he's
I
in
think.
the
Yeah, I think you broke up a little bit on that last part, D.
yeah, by playing up, he should because that will let you know if you have something special or not.
Okay, I see. Well, let me ask you a question because I think a lot of people don't realize this, and I think you alluded to it earlier, and that was just one of the main questions I wanted to ask you. Um, what impact is the transfer portal having on 12th grade athletes who would normally get offers to play football or basketball
So, so the transfer portal has turned NCAA sports on its ear.
Okay.
I think it has some good parts to it, but there's a lot more, in my opinion, there's a lot more bad than good because what it's allowed kids to do is not face adversity. Because if things get tough, you can just transfer and you can play immediately. But it also gives the kid a lot more control over his destiny because there are programs that will encourage you to transfer because you're not producing or the coach has his own guy or all sorts of politics that go on behind the scenes that force kids into situations where they have to transfer. Mm-hmm. Now, for a high school athlete, if you're a college coach, unless he's a phenom, there aren't phenoms, he's going to have to wait a year or two before he can contribute to my team. And we're in win now. High major programs, mid-major programs are in win now mode. But if I get this kid who's a sophomore who's already had 2 years in a college program, who knows the system, he knows the speed of the game, his body is college ready, I can bring him in and he can make an immediate impact. Then it's harder for a high school kid to get on.
Yeah, so basically
just harder.
So basically you're saying that whether it's football or basketball, basically if a coach can go in and get somebody that's already ready to jump in and play right away versus somebody you have to bring in and develop, then that's where the opportunity is being lost.
Yes. And it is tougher, but the good point about that is, from a college perspective, a lot of mid-majors and low majors, they are now able to get top-tier kids that they wouldn't have been able to get before because the top-tier kid doesn't have as many options as he had in the past. He may only have one high major offer, but 3 mid-majors. And if that kid is smart, and the parents are smart and have been advised properly, he may look at those mid-major opportunities because at the end of the day, the goal is to get a free education.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to the NBA or NFL, great. But the percentages are so low, the goal is to get a free education. And then
whose goal is that?
It should be every
it may be the parents' goal, but I don't know about the kids.
Well, James can tell you on my Facebook page for years, my goal has always been.
Yeah.
What is it, James? What do I say?
Look. Operation Free Tuition, I think is what it was, something like that.
That's it, and my kids haven't paid for school even in high school.
Yeah.
Because the goal is always to get a free education, and my wife and I tell our children all the time, our goal for you is to get a free education. Anything once you reach that free education threshold, anything you want to do beyond that, that's your dream. That's not our dream. We don't need you to save us, get us out the hood. We don't need you to save the family. If you get a free education, and then the opportunity for you to be a professional sports athlete, we're with you 100%. 100% behind you. But that's not our goal.
Yeah, I think that's I agree with that. I think the reality is, especially when you look at a lot of I've been following basketball. I played basketball for a long time. That is a good perspective that you and your wife that you have for your children. Unfortunately, everybody's not in that situation. I go back and I look at some of and I don't want to get off topic, but you look at someone like an Allen Iverson or all those folks who maybe intended on going to school, getting an education, but when that money is flashed, and the agents are in your ears, I don't know, the temptation is there.
And that's a very good point, but it's worse now. It's worse. There is. Let me see if I can say this to be political. There is money to be made even at 6th, 7th, and 8th grade level.
Wow.
It's not significant. It might translate into a few airline tickets and some hotel rooms and some meals at these tournaments, but a parent has to look at the big picture. We there have been situations where people have called in the past and asked, "Can my son come and fly in and play on somebody else's team for the weekend?"
Oh, I know.
And
Watch out.
Wow.
Vehicle on
yeah,
shoulder
I'm
ahead.
talking fifth, sixth, seventh grade, and we're like, that's not what we're doing. And don't get me wrong, we've invested a lot of time and money getting our son athletically ready for the next level. But we're equal with the academics because we have to show him that both are important. We've heard he has pro potential, but we don't let that stop him from being a 17-year-old kid. He still has chores. He still has to do his homework. He still has to come to family dinner and do all the other things that a normal 17-year-old would have to do. Um, because again, once he starts believing his press, then we have a whole other problem.
Yeah, let me ask a question, and this is when we spoke about, man. I think it's so important. I think people need to hear, because I don't think they realize how important it is. How important is it for um, your son to have like around good friends, good associations, making good decisions? Because once you're being recruited or people eye on you, how much scrutiny is actually on you? Can you tell about that process a little bit?
Oh, that's a good point. So again, we learned a lot of this with my daughter. So she was the test case. And what we found was athletes, serious athletes, gravitate towards other serious athletes. Even when dating, it's a they gravitate to kids who are going in the same direction as them. And as they continue through the process, that circle of friends will get smaller and smaller because as you get older, the serious athletes, that group gets smaller. So my daughter's best friends, with the exception of one or two, most of her best friends are athletes. So they're all going in the same direction. So they're all, they know about the two a days. So they're all tired on Friday evening. And they all know about tutoring and going to homework and traveling every weekend. So they can relate. And those kids that aren't serious about their athletics, they weed themselves out by ninth grade.
Hmm.
So
No.
my son is the same way. All of his friends, all of the top kids in the country, they all know each other. They all know each other. They all talk. They all Instagram. They talk. They talk about their recruitment and all of that stuff. So it kind of works itself. It works itself out later, but early on, you got to keep them. It's like with us. We want to be around people who are where we want to be.
Yeah. So tell us about and about what can happen if perhaps that I don't think that people realize that these coaches now they're looking back at your social media, they're looking back at if you've done anything wrong and all those type of things, how things that you can do at a young age, well young age, 13, 14, can actually cause you to lose an offer when you're 17, 18.
Absolutely. So then this goes back to parenting.
Yeah,
Having people in your circle, not just as parents, because again, you don't want to. I, we don't want to stalk our children's social media per se,
yeah.
but what we have is a circle. We have a couple of people that have been with us since my son was in the eighth grade, who play the role of Big Brother. So they're all on
Okay.
their social media, and they help us monitor what my son is doing and my daughter's doing. And we've had to say, and honestly, I like full transparency, we've had to say to my son, "Hey, man, you got to take that picture down. That doesn't look good." Because the college coaches, let me tell you something about these college coaches, especially high major college coaches. And right now, my son is sitting at 20, 22 offers. Right? They do a deep dive into not only the kid but the family. So they're looking at his
So,
social media.
hold up. So listen, I want people to hear what he just said. He said that high major, when they're recruiting, they're not just looking at the kid, they're looking at the entire family. Did I get that
Oh,
right, Mr. Freeman?
you hit the nail on the head. And when I say
Okay.
listen, they we went to a visit, and I won't say the name of the program, high major program. And when I tell you that coaching staff had out not physically but a dossier on us, they knew what me and my wife did for a living. They knew about my daughter, what she majored in, what school she went to. They knew about the AAU program my son played for, what type of kid he was. And mind you, they don't ask you these questions. What kind of parents are we? Are we those crazy parents that are coaching from the sideline? Are we those crazy parents that will fight a referee? Just all the different things that they look for. And I've had coaches say to us, we really like you guys as a family. And I'm like, what about my son? Oh, yeah, we like him too. He can play, but we like you guys as a
Wow.
family. And so we have to, as a group, always be conscious about what we do and what we say. Our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram, we have to be careful of what we post as parents. We
Yeah.
can't get on our Instagram or social media and dog our high school coach or talk reckless about the AAU program, coaches and administration, because you never know who you're talking to. In this basketball world, sports world in general is very small. They are very close knit, and so there's who talk.
So basically, you're saying that if your child can have all the potential in the world, but if you got one of those crazy maniacal parents, they can actually they can actually lose opportunity for their child. That's basically that possible.
Absolutely. I was on a visit, and I was talking
Well,
to
also
coach.
depending on how good the student athlete is too.
No. Listen, they will tolerate something. If he's a phenom, like a guaranteed one and done going to the NBA, they will tolerate some degree of stuff, but not too much, because again, that they in their mind, if I get this kid, his family is going to be a problem for us as a program. The talent level is so high now. There are no more LeBron James, no matter what people say. There are no more Michael Jordans. Those guys. So there's so many. Some coaches say, you know what? I like this kid, but his attitude's terrible. This kid is just as good and got a great attitude. I'm gonna take this kid instead because I can get him better on the court. With my resources as a college coach, I can get him better. I can't change his attitude.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That is so true. I think what you said, especially about the social media, and even without academics. I mean, across without athletics. My youngest daughter, she did an internship at a summer internship at a place. I won't say the name, but her job was to screen the social media of people who applied to that organization. People actually had job offers rescinded based on what was found in social media.
It happens all
Not
the time.
surprising.
I was actually on a visit. And I said to a coach, hey, what do y'all think about this kid? And the coach said, oh, the kid's great, but his dad is nuts. He's not
Wow.
signing up for that.
Wow.
Literally. And my mouth hit the floor. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't push it or prod, or I just left it.
Yeah.
Just because, again, and it's not the kid's fault. It's not his fault. Their fault. But parents need to take responsibility and say, let me not mess this up for my child.
Yeah. So let me ask you now. I keep hearing these terms, and I hear them, and I take for granted because I hear them so much, but I see on Twitter pages and things, I don't really know what it means. So what's the difference between an official visit and an unofficial visit? Because I keep hearing these terms, but I know a lot of people in the universe, they hear it too. But is there a distinction between the two? A visit versus an unofficial visit?
There's a big distinction between the two. So,
Okay.
the difference between an unofficial visit and an official visit, on the unofficial visit, the university can't pay for anything. It's all on you. They may be able to provide you with tickets to a game, but there's a limited amount, but they can't pay for anything else. An official visit, the university can pay for everything. And it lasts 40, it can only be 48 hours. There's a time frame on when these can take place, 48 hours. So they can fly you in. Now you're allowed 2 adults to travel with the child. Before, my daughter's going through it, was only 1, but now it's 2. They can pay for all your meals, your hotels, and they really, really roll out the red carpet for an official visit. An unofficial visit, not so much.
Okay, gotcha. So if you're getting uh, contacted by a coach and he wants to set up official visit, that means they're really serious about you, or can they be serious about you
Yes,
with the unofficial visit as well?
it depends on the year
Okay.
because you cannot take official visits before August of your junior year for basketball. I'm not sure more what it is for football. You cannot take an official visit before August of your junior year, and you cannot have player contact. Coaches cannot officially contact basketball athletes before June 15th of their junior year.
Hmm.
So what usually happens is after June 15th, that's when you start getting all your calls. You might get some interest through a third party before that, but officially they reach out to you after June 15th. Then you can set up official visits. In your senior year, you can take them, and that's fine. You only allow 5 a year for basketball, so you can do 5 in your junior year and 5 in your senior year. But official visits take as many as you want. So if a coach is offering you an official visit, you're in good shape with that coach because the first of all the head coach has to authorize that.
Yeah.
And if the head coach is talking to you, you're in good shape. If they offer you an official visit, you're in even better shape because they're going to invest a lot of money to get you on campus.
Wow.
It's a lot of money
So
they spend.
so man, look, I know that you and your wife have been through it, and so what are some of the pitfalls that you've experienced? Because I know everybody think recruiting and the process is such a glamorous process, and you get invited to all these places, and they're rolling the red carpet out to you. What are some of the pitfalls that you can share that you've maybe experienced that you can't speak about? That you can't speak about?
Absolutely. So one of the things, the biggest thing, is that one of the mistakes. And my wife and I talk about this all the time. Um, one of the things we should have done is with my son, we have 2 advisors that work with our son and help us navigate a lot of this stuff. And they both have track records of getting kids to where we want our child to be. If you want your child to be an Olympian, you need to have someone who's either coached Olympians or is an Olympian in your corner,
Mm.
okay, to advise you. Um, we did not have an Olympian advising us with our daughter. So there were some things we could have done differently because she was projected to be an Olympian, but there were some things we did not do as parents. Um, we fell in love with the wrong things. Now it worked out. She got a master's degree for free, but she didn't become an Olympian. So I would tell parents, track record. You have to look at the track record of the people who are advising you.
Now, when you say advisor, are you talking about a volunteer advisor or a paid advisor?
Oh no, volunteer. Well, when you say volunteer, nobody does anything for free,
Okay.
but you should not pay someone to help guide. But you should not pay for someone to help you guide your child, like
I got
let's
you.
say an agent or something like that. The people, again, this area where we are, the DMV, is packed full of people who have been where we want our son to go. I'm talking about every level, from coaches to players to everybody. So the expectation in this area is that if you are playing a sport, you have any level of potential, you're going to college because
Yeah.
of the people in this area.
Yeah.
It really goes back to having people around you. And again, we made it a point. I've never coached my son.
Yeah.
Never coached him because I maintain a separation. I'm just dad. That's my running joke. I'm just dad.
Yeah.
I let the
And
basketball people handle the basketball stuff.
okay, I got you. And I think, man, from because you know I'm an educator, and I think one of the frustrating things I see, I can't speak for other areas, but I can say here where I'm at, what I see a lot of times is unfortunately student athletes, especially our children, you know, they're put into weight training every semester. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're the coaches, no one taught them about the process as far as being college eligible and things of that nature. And then when their high school career is over, um, they don't have a athletic scholarship offer, but they don't have the courses to actually get in college. Um, so would that fall? I guess that falls back on the parents, would you say? But a lot of times, I think that sometimes our parents don't know better.
Yeah, but see, James, that goes back to what I was saying about having people around you with a track record. Any high
Yes.
school coach on any sport who does not have a track record of getting kids into college or onto college, that's a red flag because any college
Wow.
coach, any coach who
Good point.
does, will know that you need 3 English, three math, 4 English, 2 sociology, two foreign languages. So even if the parent doesn't know, because a lot of parents didn't go to college or even know the process. But if your school, that coach should be able to tell you, hey, Miss Smith, um, Johnny's taking these courses and he has to take these courses his freshman year. So in order for us to make him eligible, y'all gonna have to help me make sure he does his work in these classes because he's going to need these when he gets ready for college to pass the NCAA clearinghouse. The coach should be able to tell you, and also the guidance counselor. They should be working in tandem because guess what? At the college level, the academic advisor and the coach work hand in hand. So if you're in a high
Yeah.
school where that's not happening, change high schools.
Uh,
Well,
so
I would say in my experience, the guidance
yeah.
counselor and the coaches are working in tandem to make sure that the student stays
Yep.
eligible at all costs. So they're working in tandem, just in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing: if that guidance counselor and that coach are working in tandem to have the kid take basket weaving and all of that, then all you have to do is look at when you're choosing a high school in the 8th grade, look at the acceptance rates
Mm-hmm.
for athletes. It's all that stuff is published. The school we have my son at now, they have a 100% college acceptance rate, 100%. But they also have one of the top sports programs in the area. So it's a good school where I know that he will be ready academically to go to college, and athletically he'll be ready to go. But again, that's research. That's the questions you
Yeah.
ask in the eighth
Yeah.
grade when you're looking for a high school.
Yeah. And I think, and you make a good point, D. And I think the dynamic in rural areas out here, like where I'm at, what my brother said is exactly true. I will not name the schools or people specifically, but I've had students. I had a student that actually failed my class, um, failed it with an F, and the administrator and the coach got together and changed the grade so the child could play football. You know, and you know what? And I got to the point now. Once you explain to the parent that um, like, listen, I know you want to see your child play sports. I know you love to watch him on the football field or basketball field. But listen, this coach, not all of them, I can't speak for all, but the ones I'm talking about, that's what I'm talking about. Uh, this coach and they do not have your son's or your daughter's most best interest at heart. A lot of parents, once you show them that, sometimes, unfortunately, they still let the child play. So after that, I kind of remove my hands from the situation. Yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah,
guess what? That's all you can do. But
yeah,
those kids in 2022, those kids don't make it. They don't.
yeah,
And if you want to be known as the best running back, best high school running back in your state, but yet you work at Dollar General, then okay, that's fine. But if you have aspirations for your child to go into the next level, when I mean the next level, I mean college. Now, granted, college is not for everybody. Everybody should not have to go to college. And I
yes,
think the way that sports is moving, there's going to come a time when you won't have to go to college um, to go to the next level athletically. But that percentage is so small. You want to just I always tell my son, if we get to the point and you don't have to go to college, we'll have that conversation. But we're going to prepare like you have to go.
gotcha.
Because I'd much rather
Uh,
you be able to go and choose not to than need to go and can't.
But you made a good point, and I never thought about it like this. And I'm going to mention some of my friends later on that you look at the high school, and does that high school program have a track record of sending kids to college for the sport? A lot of kids, not just one or two, every 3 or 4 years. So that's definitely something. That's something to look at.
And look at the
There
graduation
is
rate.
yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Because
Graduation
I
rate.
remember a couple of years ago, one of the best kids in the area. I won't say his name, of course. Great athlete and had everything. One of the best I've seen, but didn't even march. You know. And like I said before, for a kid to be eligible and play football for 4 years but don't graduate, that means a lot of adults, parents,
Yep.
teachers, coaches, administrators did a lot of wrong things for a long period of time. And on the kid's senior year, once his uh, athletic career over, he don't even march and graduate. And these are the type of things that are unfortunate. But yes, I definitely like that perspective.
And one of the things, James, is that again, I know resources are limited. In some of the rural
Yeah.
towns, there may only be one high school in the
Mhm.
area. That's the high school the kid has to go to. Um,
Yeah.
but but as a parent, and again, everybody's not capable, but everybody's on the internet,
Absolutely.
right?
Hmm.
You can. There are so many schools out there now where you can send your child, especially if they're a solid athlete.
Yeah.
You can send your child, and they will get the academics, they will get the sports, and they will get the exposure. But you have to be realistic about what level your child is on, and that's where separating yourself from being dad or mom and having people who really know what they're doing around your child.
Wait, you
Because
know
again,
what?
yep. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You finish. You finish. You can finish. I'm sorry.
No, that's
You
it.
finish.
That's it. That's it. You good. You good.
No, I know. You know, you're exactly right. I have a good friend. His daughter played basketball here at the local high school. Very good friend. Daughter was a great player. He didn't like the direction things were going. So he made the decision to move his child to another school. The child now won a state championship and has D1 offers.
Yep.
So he made a sacrifice to move the child away, and I guess it worked out. So I definitely see what you're saying. Unfortunately, I wish everybody, other parents had that opportunity to do that if their child had the potential. So
Yep. I've had so many people, James. People say, um, you ask, hey, what happened to so and so? Man, I didn't have the time to keep running him back and forth to practice, or he just wasn't interested, or any of these other things. As talented as my son is, I still have to get on him about some of the other things that he needs to do to get better. He's still a kid.
yeah,
And I always tell him, this is your dream. Not my dream, this is your dream. So we're going to do, this is what it's going to take to get you to your dream. So yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice. You can't do what everybody's doing. You can't go where everybody's going. You can't sleep in on Saturday mornings like everybody else. You know,
mm,
you can't go to house parties. You can't sit in the stands with your phone exposed. You have to, whatever you do on your phone, you have to put your hand over top of it.
yeah.
Because,
Well,
Well, that's
you know,
that's kind of like the unfortunate part because there has to be a balance,
yes.
a balance between being able to be a child. Because look, one of the things that we know is nothing like high school. Once
Oh,
you
absolutely.
once you that high school experience, once you graduate from high school and once you see some of the people you're never going to see again. So you're right. There is a price to pay when you're on that elite level. But yeah, sometimes what I see is sometimes that balance between still being able to enjoy your high school years because once you get to college, it's just different. And you and agree the level of competition it's just different. Have you all seen Last Chance U, the most recent?
Oh, oh my goodness. Heartbreaking.
Uh, what I would do, but look, Junior, have you seen Last Chance U?
I've seen it before, but not the most recent episode. That's depressing, man. Sometimes,
Well, it's realistic.
but it's
It is
realistic. That's
realistic.
right. But the truth is, really, yes.
But what it shows you is even at the junior college, there are a lot of themes, but I'll just say is I'm just going to focus on the competition level. Even the level of competition at that junior college level is is still I think it's pretty amazing because some of those kids are some of those kids had issue at Power Five conferences, and then they ended up they ended up at in junior college. But my point is that um, the level of dedication that's required once you leave high school, and then now you were the coach. I mean, it's just telling. I would advise all look. I would advise all parents to one watch the Hoop Dreams. It is an old basketball story. Arthur
Yeah.
Ag. I can't think of the other guy's name. What's it? William Gates.
Yeah.
Hoop Dreams. Everything that we're talking about, it goes through that same type of the process, and then also Last Chance U. I would advise all parents to watch that.
Definitely. So one of the things, and I agree with you 100%. I tell my son, I force him all the time, you need to watch episode number 5. Just watch it. Just watch it.
You gotta watch it, Junior. You gotta watch it.
I gotta watch it. Oh man, now you got me watching. Okay. So what happens? I mean, you don't want to be a spoiler.
uh, one of the things. No, I'm not gonna elaborate. I want you to watch it. But one of the things none of those kids lacked was talent. All of them were talented.
Yeah.
All of them were talented. But it's the other stuff. One kid didn't have parental support. One kid didn't have the grades. One kid lost his dad, and his dad was his coach all his life. And when his dad couldn't coach him anymore, he couldn't function. I mean, and
Wow.
this generation is the microwave generation. They don't have patience. And one of the things we've done with my son is, and again, this wasn't our idea. This is the people we had around, the two people that advised us, said, hey, we need your son to play up. He can't play his age group. If he plays his age group, he's going to get a false sense of superiority, and he's going to get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
So we need him to play up. So my son hasn't played his age group since 8th grade. So when he was out there last year playing 17U on the EYBL circuit, that's the Nike circuit, playing 17s, I had people say, man, Donnie only averaging 8 points and 2 rebounds. Why you don't have him playing 16s? Oh, it's going to mess up his recruitment. Oh, he should be playing with his age group. Mm-hmm. The advisor said, no, he's fine. Well, this season, he's playing high school ball. And he's like, Dad, this is so much easier. He said, over the summer, I'm playing against Duke commits, Alabama commits, 6 foot guards.
What grade is your son in?
He's in the 11th grade.
11th grade. Good.
He's in the 11th grade.
So listen, man.
He's in the 10th when he played 17.
Look, I know a lot of people. Sometimes you got to put numbers out there, right? So I know you mentioned a statistic in the pre-show when we were talking before. Please go over that AAU statistic about how many kids actually play AAU versus the ones that actually get the offer. I think parents really need to hear this too.
So, at the start of the AAU season this year, let's kind of started a little bit. So I'm gonna go with last year's statistics. At the start of the AAU season last year, there were 545,000 kids playing AAU basketball, all ages.
544,000 kids.
540,000.
Okay, 540,000 kids. Okay.
Total, all age groups. When you get down to out of those age groups, those that are projected to get D1 scholarships, it's like 1%.
1%.
When you break it down by age group, and you start talking about the juniors and seniors, it gets down to like 0.4%, 0.3%, 0.2%. When you start getting kids that are getting ready to be recruited. So you think of those numbers. There's only 480 kids, 480 guys in the NBA.
Yeah.
So think about that. 480 jobs.
So everybody trying to fight for 480 jobs. It's kind of like, so it's just like at the football camps. You go to these football camps and see all these kids there, but only 3 or 4 actually invited, didn't have to pay.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Exactly. And again, if a parent wants to see, and I'm not, and again, it's by the grace of God we are where we are with my son, my daughters. A lot of it was love.
Yeah.
A lot of it was prayer. A lot of it was, a lot of stuff that we couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
But if a parent really wants to see what your child is made of, have them play up. Just go to a camp, pick a camp, and say,
Mm-hmm.
like if your kid's in the 6th grade, say I want my kid to play with the 8th graders in this camp. I want him to play with the 8th graders. If that kid goes out there and wants to quit, or doesn't have the toughness to battle through it or whatever, you might need to reevaluate your expectations, because that's what it's going to be like when you get to high school. There are no age groups in high school.
Yeah. So basically, so just because you may average 30 point in your local high school, don't mean that's going to translate to nationwide.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And it's more than just points. There are no freshmen in the NCAA right now. There are no freshmen leading any scoring category in NCAA basketball right now. None.
Wow.
Not a one.
Wow.
So so that academics become even more important, because your freshman year you may not get a lot of minutes. So you need to be focused on the academics, because you don't know what's going on.
Look, and I
Learn how
want
to
to,
get through these moments since 3rd and 4th grade.
yeah, and I want to reiterate that parents, listen. I think he made a good point about academics. Listen, parents, if your child's in high school right now and he or she's not used to academic rigor, and they're not taking college prep courses or anything like that, or they're not taking any classes with any type of rigor, if by chance they do get to college, they're not going to automatically have that ability if it's already not been developed. Right.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
well, well,
It,
well,
it's
look,
it's
man,
tough.
D man, listen, man, we can go on forever and ever, man. But listen, this was good, man. I really appreciate you. Come on, this is like my Shaw you brother here. I really appreciate you coming on, man. The insight. I think you really gave some nice nuggets for our parents to consider if they have a child who's a student athlete.
Absolutely. And one last thing, Jane, before I think we have like
Yes.
30 seconds. One last thing.
Yes.
To Anthony's point, in the month of August, we shut my son down. He doesn't do any basketball related stuff in August. He's a kid. We go on family vacation. He plays the video games in the morning. He doesn't do very many interviews. He doesn't do anything basketball related in the month of August.
Smart.
So that he can be a kid, even more of a kid. So we do make sure we enforce that, so he can actually, like Anthony said, he's got to be able to be a kid and enjoy those years he's not going to ever get back, before it gets really hard. But
What it sounds like, D, it sounds like you and look, give my regards and congratulations to your wife as well. It sounds like that you two are very intentional about your children's academic and athletic process. So
yes,
you're very intentional.
thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
I'm sure I missed some stuff and didn't say some things that I probably should have, but feel
Oh,
free to, if your viewers, anybody has a question. Again, we're not experts by any means. We just have good people around us. If you want to shoot me a text or an email, and I'll answer the question. I'll find an answer for them.
yeah.
I don't have a problem doing that as long as you need.
Okay. Well, right. He offered, ladies and gentlemen out there, he said that, listen, if you have any questions about the process or what you might need to know or anything like that you might not be getting or per se, he's willing to like answer your question. So please take advantage of that resource. Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot, man. Thanks for taking your time out. I know they moved your son's game up. You're on the road and everything, but I appreciate you taking your time to spend with us, man.
The pleasure's been all
Thank
mine.
you.
Like I said, you guys allowed me to dump, so we appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. All right. All right. Well, peace out, man. Thanks a lot, man.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that was I you know, I think I still just say that I just don't think people understand how the competition level, man, is.
Yeah.
And I think a sure way sign is like I know he mentioned that, the age group, but I will say for the most part, by the time you're in the 11th grade, uh, and you're not getting those offers, you're not getting invited to camps. That should be a telltale sign that you need to focus more on your education than you do for trying to trying to get a scholarship. And it's okay with just being a good high school player. I mean, because there's so much pressure on you see the games, man. You see highlights where parents go crazy. It is so much pressure on kids that are from all those external forces. It's okay with just being a good high school athlete.
Yeah. Well, and two, man, and the thing is, man, look, and D made a good point, man. He's look, they were intentional about developing their children's athletics if they had the ability, but they were also intentional about developing their academic abilities. You can make if your child may not have a D1 athletic body, but you can develop a D1 academic mind.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you are as intentional about the academic portion as you are about the athletic portion, I think your child will be fine. But what you see is, unfortunately, you see a lot of parents who are more concerned about the athletics than the academics. And it doesn't help when you have unscrupulous guidance counselors and coaches and things of that nature. They're, like you said, man, they do everything they can to keep you eligible for high school, but nothing to prepare you for your post high school life.
Yeah, and then I also think that the student has accountability also.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not so much in middle school, but once you get up into the and look, and I guess we have to preface this by saying we're talking about the elite athletes. Okay,
Yeah,
we're not talking about
yeah.
We're,
See,
we're
his
not.
son is elite. Yeah, his son,
Yeah.
talking about he was offered by Georgetown in 8th grade, so
Correct.
that's
So
elite. Yeah.
so yeah, those guys right there, they know. But I'm just talking about the regular, just good football player, guy to play quarterback, never gonna play again.
But the problem is the regular ones think they're elite. That's
Yeah.
the problem. The regular
Well,
ones think they're elite.
and I think that's fine to think that, but then the outcome should bear that. Meaning that if you are elite in a 10th grader, now there are some people who have growth spurts. They may grow 5, 6, 7 inches, but I'm just saying most of the time. And if you talk to high school coaches, you talk to college coaches. By the time that you're in you know, with the exception of late bloomers, but exception don't make the rule. You kind of know once you hit that your sophomore, junior year, if you're getting invited to camps again, if you're getting those offers.
Yeah. The one thing, if you look, one thing about one telltale sign, he says, look, this football and basketball.
Yeah.
If you're paying for camp versus being invited to camp,
Correct.
that's a good measure.
Correct.
And like I said, we got a little bit of experience too because, like I said, Joanne was recruited, got a track scholarship to UNC Chapel Hill, ran with Monique Hennigan and Marion Jones and all the people. So Joanne was that stuff. And you played college ball too, man. You was recruited, so you know a little bit. It's changed a lot, but you said before that academic piece is very important.
Yeah.
But I think it was some good information, man. I appreciate G coming on for us, man.
Yeah, I think it was. I definitely think it was would get information. I think the one thing that I would take away is if you he talked about having advisors. Again, this is not gonna apply to everybody, but I would imagine that Brandon Ingram out of the rural Kinston, North Carolina, his parents probably knew in the 10th grade that that he was gonna be something special.
With Kinston, man, they got this documentary, this little thing called "Something in the Water."
Yeah,
I used to teach in Kinston, man,
Yeah.
and I used to go to them games.
yeah,
It's something different down that way,
Yeah.
man. We can't even. But yeah, I see what you're saying though. To your point,
they're preparing. They should be prepared early, and they know, with the exception of the late bloomers. Yeah,
Look, I remember a little side note, man, about Kinston High School. Remember, I was the cameraman. I was the cameraman for the basketball team,
I
and
remember Terry Domingo
Stats.
hit that. I remember.
It was one. Hold on, one. I think Kinston came. Stackhouse was a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
and Kinston beat us on their floor. They beat us at New Bern High,
Mm-hmm.
and Jerry, and then they came to the electric slide on our floor.
Well,
And then
I
we went back to Kinston, and Rock Phillip Batts hit a shot from half court at the buzzer and beat Kinston. Who hit that buzzer shot? And then but they beat us up. We had to
yeah
get an escort all the way back to 70.
yeah I can't remember. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
So long
But
ago. But to your point
y'all,
is they had advisors.
yeah.
Yeah.
You played against Stackhouse in that camp thing, right?
Well, no, I played against Stackhouse in high school.
High school, okay, yeah.
When I played on the, I was on the varsity as a junior on the varsity team. Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, man, I tell you what, man. Well, it was a good show, man. I
Yeah.
hope this give people some insight. At the end of the day, parents, it's about watching the best interests of your child. And I know athletics. I know it's a big thing in some of these areas and everything. But at the end of the day, parents, you're responsible for your child's future. And if a coach or a guidance counselor or whatever is not making decisions that are in your child's best interest, then as a parent, you have to make that hard decision to say, hey, if you're not going to do right by my child academically or whatever, then, where's your child has his best chance of success?
Yep.
So you have to make those hard decisions. My children always knew that if the grades failed, I don't care how good you were. Maya tell you, you will not play. I don't care if you was a star. If she was a star point guard, till her grade fall, you sitting on the bench. You ain't playing. No, off the bench. You home.
Yeah.
So but that's just me. But great show. Enjoyed D coming on, giving his insight. That was awesome.
All right. Well, that's all I got, man. I think this may be our last show of the year, so I want everybody to enjoy their family, enjoy the holidays. That's all I got.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy New Year and all that good stuff.
All right.
All right. Peace, man.